Good morning, everyone. Dr. Victoria Scribo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Actually, I apologize, it's the afternoon. This is my daily astrology for today, March 6th. It's a Sunday, and the moon is in Aries still, I think. But let's take a look because there's an important thing happening today. Venus and Mars are moving into the sign of Aquarius today. It starts off with Mars moving into Aquarius, and then a couple of minutes later, Venus moves into Aquarius, and then a couple of minutes after that, we have a conjunction between Mars and Venus in Aquarius. Now, this is important because this is actually the second conjunction of Venus and Mars. The first one occurred last month. Let's take a look at what's happening today. I'm going to share my screen here. We're going to look at this conjunction. Okay, and so here we have this chart. This chart is with a Aries ascendant, so this is a natural chart. So all the planets fall in their natural sort of houses here, depending on the sign that they're in. And we can see here that we have Venus and Mars making a conjunction at 0001 of Aquarius. So just in Aquarius. Now, I want to show you the conjunction that occurred previous to this one. And here we can see, again, Venus and Mars together. This time, they're together at 17 degrees of Capricorn. We can see here that they are coming together before they meet up with Pluto. Now, the interesting thing about this particular situation is that previous to this, both Venus and Mars made trines to Uranus, right? Then they come up and they have to make, first thing they do is they'll make a sextile to Neptune, and then they make a conjunction to Pluto. And then we have, when they move on the other side of Pluto, when they move on the other side of Pluto. And so they've gone through this gauntlet of interactions with the transpersonal planets. The next interaction they have with the transpersonal planets is going to be a square to Uranus. So they had a trine to Uranus, and then they have a square to Uranus. So there is this energy of relating in a different way. The other interesting thing about this conjunction is that Mars conjunction to Pluto, which happened to occur on the 3rd of March. That was the same day that the Russians bombed the largest nuclear facility in the Ukraine, or in all of Europe, I guess. I think there's 6 reactors there. And so it was quite a scary situation. It was at night. It's a nuclear facility, and we see a fire, and most of us who are old enough, sort of harken back to Chernobyl and the disaster that occurred there. So all of that, and that was what, 1986? So we're talking about a lot of anxiety and a lot of angst released at that time. But that also that day, Venus made a conjunction to Pluto. And the interesting thing about the Pluto-Venus conjunction, it was actually the last of 3 conjunctions between Pluto and Venus. So it's as if Venus had 3 meetups with Pluto to Mars's 1 meetup with Pluto. But this last meetup with Mars and Pluto is important because it's the last meetup they make in the sign of Capricorn. The next time they meet up, I believe it's happening in the 1st degree of Aquarius. That's the degree that we have the Venus-Mars conjunction today. That is the degree that we had the Saturn and Jupiter conjunction at the end of 2020, starting a new social cycle of expansion. So this all sort of harkens to the idea that we are learning to relate in a new way. We are having to experience the old way of doing things. That is most evidently seen in the attack on the Ukraine and what Russia is doing in the Ukraine, what Russia had done in Syria, what Russia had done in, was it Georgia or where Chechnya, Chechnya, sorry, is. It's the same thing. He's doing the same thing. He's just doing it, with years apart, but it's sort of the same old way of doing it. And the more I learn about the history of Vladimir Putin and the more I look at his chart, the more I realize that his energy is one of moving through life via the wounded power. It's all about a sense of disempowerment and woundedness. And I'm going to be doing Putin's chart today, a little bit later, his numerology and Kabbalah, and a couple of things, because I did a little research last night that I want to share with you, just so we can get a perspective on what the hell's going on, right? So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm also, one of the reasons that this was late was because I did a high tea with Denise this morning. And so that is going to come out at 4 o'clock today. So you can keep your eyes balls peeled for that. But really what I want you to take from this day is that this is the beginning of a new way of relating to each other, to the world, in a more Aquarian, humanitarian, raise all boats way. And I think if we move forward with that consideration, understanding that ultimately we're all connected, that we will have the power to turn the tides from this old power over dynamic to a new, more enlightened, more loving, more egalitarian, and frankly, more democratic way of moving forward in the world. So have yourself a beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Keep your eyes peeled for high tea. Keep your eyes peeled for my Putin reading that's coming up. And much love to you all. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Namaste.